Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone. This is the funniest thing that possibly could have happened. The draft lottery just wrapped up, and the Dallas Mavericks are going to get Cooper Flagg after they made one of the worst trades physically possible, maybe the worst trade in NBA history. They end up with the number 1 overall pick. I refuse to believe there are basketball gods. I know, people talk about them metaphorically. You anger the basketball gods, this and that. They're not real, because there is no way the Mavericks are getting the number 1 overall pick the same season that they trade Luka Doncic if there are basketball gods. Crazy results all up and down the board. Quick recap. So it's Mavs 1, Spurs 2, Sixers 3. Then the Hornets, the Jazz get screwed, going from number 1 to number 5, fall as far as possible. The Wizards at 6, Pelicans, Nets, Raptors, Rockets, Blazers, Bulls, Hawks, Spurs. Crazy result to the lottery. I mean, the craziest outcomes to get number 1 overall were the Mavs, the Spurs, and the Sixers, in my opinion, and those are the teams that got top 3. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Of course, the Mavs getting Cooper Flagg is the big news, as it should be. And if you're one of the conspiracy theorists that were saying, oh, the NBA forced the Mavericks to trade Luka Doncic to the Lakers because it's good for ratings and this and that, I mean, your conspiracy stocks have just skyrocketed, because now it's like, oh, they made a deal under the table. You trade Luka to the Lakers, and if you end up in the lottery, oh, we'll give you the number 1 overall pick and get you Cooper Flagg. And I really don't even know what this means for the Mavericks. There's no way they trade this pick, although knowing Nico Harrison, maybe he's going to trade number 1 for Draymond Green. That seems to be the way he likes to do business. But like, they're going to get Cooper Flagg, and now they have a guy to build around for the future. They just went from one of the dimmest futures to one that is relatively bright. Now, it still is rough next season because, Kyrie is not going to play the entire season, or at least most of it. Maybe he comes back towards the end of the year. But having Cooper Flagg and Anthony Davis is a crazy defense. That's Nico Harrison's whole thing is, we want to be this defensive squad. And I mean, they're going to have that. It definitely makes things a lot better over there in Dallas. I'm happy for Mavs fans, the fact that they get this, amazing prize out of what was an absolute disaster of a season coming off of losing the finals. But I hate that the Mavericks front office was rewarded for trading Luka Doncic. I'm not ready for all the think pieces that are like, oh, did Nico Harrison know? Was he actually right? Was the Luka trade secretly genius? No, the ping pong balls just massively fell in his favor in a way that we've never seen before. This is a historic result. Again, I'm happy for Mavs fans. I'm super interested to see what the Mavs do the rest of this offseason now, getting Cooper Flagg. I mean, Coop, AD, that defense is going to be crazy. You still got Lively. Like, how do you even do that? Is Coop now your 3 and AD's your 4 and Lively's your 5? That's a crazy defensive front court with a lot of size. They're going to be a tough team next year. They're going to be really tough. And I think Coop could be an all-star as soon as like year 2, probably. Just insanity over there in Dallas. The Spurs getting number 2. I was terrified they were going to get all the way up to 1 when we found out they were in the top 4, but they do end up at 2. And they are now in a very complicated situation because they've got De'Aaron Fox, they've got Stephon Castle, and Dylan Harper out of Rutgers is like pretty much the unanimous guy that's supposed to go number 2 overall, but that now gives you an extra guard. Are you going to use a top 2 pick on him? Are they willing to take like an Ace Bailey or VJ Edgecombe instead? Would they potentially trade back to the Sixers and let Philly jump up 1 spot, and maybe they want Dylan Harper, or maybe like the Hornets or the Jazz or Wizards, like Pelicans, one of those teams, Nets even, maybe they could just try and recuperate a few different assets, or maybe this is now the prime piece in a Giannis trade. I mean, if I'm the Bucks, now that the Spurs have number 2, if I can get the number 2 pick, like Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, maybe you can get Stephon Castle out of it, or at least just get the 14th pick. Like, you have a massive pool of assets now to try and demand from the Spurs. And I'm willing, if I'm San Antonio, to move this pick for Giannis, knowing again that the guy who is supposed to go here is another guard when you already have 2 guards that you like going forward to the future. Or maybe, they trade Stephon Castle, they don't give up this pick, and they take Dylan Harper to instead be that guard. I don't know. This made things way more complicated and way more interesting for the Spurs going into this upcoming season, or upcoming summer rather. The Sixers get number 3. As a Thunder fan, I wanted to see the Thunder go ahead and get that 7th overall pick from them, or 8, or wherever they landed outside the top 6. It doesn't happen, and they're in a pretty good spot here. I think they could theoretically trade up to 2 if they want to try and push that. This is now a pick they could use as a big time trade chip if they wanted to make some type of splash. Maybe they try and pair Paul George's contract with this pick and make something happen on that end, or if they just get like Ace Bailey here. I think Ace Bailey could be really good from them from the beginning, gives you another interesting young piece next to Jared McCain, next to Tyrese Maxey. If this Embiid, PG, Maxey whole thing doesn't end up working out, you now have a number of really interesting young pieces going forward. So yeah, I think Philly is one of the biggest winners easily of this draft. The Hornets, this is a tough spot. They were supposed to be top 3. At least they didn't fall all the way to like 5 like the Utah Jazz did, or 6 where the Wizards are. And they're still going to get a good player. I think VJ Edgecombe would be really fun in that backcourt next to LaMelo Ball, I think that's a great direction to go. And with Edgecombe and Miller and LaMelo Ball plus Mark Williams in that lineup, like, I think you're building something really interesting over there in Charlotte. Utah, this absolutely sucks for them. They were terrible this season. Like, nobody was talking about the Jazz, and they fall all the way to 5. Still good players here. They feel like a prime team to try and trade up if there's any possibility. Maybe they move off of Larry Markkinen to trade up in this draft. Like, maybe they try and entice a San Antonio or a Philly. I don't really know. It just feels like to me, this is obviously the worst possible outcome. They dropped as far as possible, but this is a nightmare result for Utah. The Wizards are going to be more fine because I feel like I like their top end rebuild talent more than the Utah Jazz. So it sucks. I would have loved to see Cooper Flagg or one of those top guys end up in Washington, but I think there's still a lot of fun pieces here. Pelicans, I think now that they fall into 7, this is much more of a trade chip than anything. The Brooklyn Nets ending up at number 8. They obviously would have loved to jump and get a top asset to maybe throw into a Giannis trade. The report is that they really want to go after him. This is still an intriguing asset, but it's obviously not as good as it could have been. And then you've got like the Raptors at 9, nothing too much changing there. Rockets at 10, they do not jump up, which is great, as a fan of a team in the Western Conference, which, by the way, I'm so mad that Cooper Flagg is coming to the Western Conference. Can we please get one of these, all-time can't-miss prospects to the East, please? Like Wemby, Zion back in 2019, Cooper Flagg. I'm just so sick of it. Like, get some talent to the Eastern Conference. They're going to go through a recession here. The Blazers get 11, Bulls 12. They're just mediocre forever. Hawks 13. That pick comes from Sacramento. And then the Spurs get the 14th pick from the Atlanta Hawks in that DeJounte Murray trade. But, obviously the big story is the Dallas Mavericks getting Cooper Flagg, going from a generational talent in Luka Doncic to, again, a guy who's supposed to be can't miss. And I'm not a draft expert or anything. I've done a lot of research. Like, I've watched a lot of Cooper Flagg as the top guy, but I'm not as into it as I've been in previous years. Of course, when the Thunder have the chance to land a top pick, then I'm like really in the weeds. But I know Cooper Flagg is insane, and everything that I've seen shows me that he's going to be a stud from day one. And now I just can't help but think about, if Kyrie Irving wasn't going to miss maybe all of next season, this Mavs team would be scary. Still trading Luka Doncic is an absolute disaster. This does not justify it, by the way. Like, don't think that this is some galaxy brain mega mind scheme from Nico Harrison. It was not. I'm not ready to see that discourse that I know is going to happen on the first takes of the world and Twitter and all that stuff. I just can't believe they lucked into this. I can't believe it. It is so by far the funniest outcome that could have happened. Like, when they jumped, I was stunned. My group chat started flooding with texts, like Twitter started blowing up. It felt like as soon as they jumped, like, it's like, there's no way, right? Like, there's no way, but at the same time, it felt like there's 100% chance that they are getting number 1 if they jump. Like, that's just the funniest outcome possible. Whoever wrote the script for this lottery, they absolutely cooked with this one. Yeah, Cooper Flagg is going to be a Dallas Maverick. Like, imagine telling a Mavs fan that, hey, you're going to lose the finals, like right before the finals last year, you're going to lose the finals, and then you're going to trade Luka Doncic mid next season. Are you following me? Oh, and then you're going to get Cooper Flagg in the draft, jumping up in one of the biggest jumps literally ever. They showed the percentages of the teams that have jumped before, and this was actually one of the biggest jumps, because where were they supposed to be originally? I don't even remember. My brain is so fuzzy now what the original spot for them was. 11. They jumped from 11 with a 1.8% chance up to get the number 1 overall pick. I guess they just lucked into it. Defense wins championships. Nico Harrison's gonna be happy about this one. Again, happy for Mavs fans. I know this was a dark time. I know y'all needed something. I'm happy for y'all because I've been feeling so bad. I'm actually, funnily enough, wearing the shirt. I got the free shirt that was at Luka's return game in Dallas, which I was at. There's a video over on the Snapback Sports channel if you want to see me go ahead and experience that game and, everything that I learned from talking to Mavericks fans. And what I learned is that they have been devastated, which is obvious, I think. But I don't think a lot of people truly grasp how much the Luka trade hurt Dallas fans, Mavericks fans. A lot of them saying they weren't even Mavs fans when I talked to them outside the arena before that game. Hopefully this rejuvenates Dallas a little bit. I know there were those conspiracy theories about them potentially moving to Vegas or something. Hopefully this just absolutely deters all of that, because Dallas deserves to have this team. And now there's suddenly a light at the end of the tunnel after, again, making one of the worst trades ever. They made one of the worst trades ever, and they're going to get rewarded with one of the best prospects of the last 10 years. I'm just glad it wasn't San Antonio, because I really did not want to see Cooper Flagg. Well, as the basketball fan in me, I would have loved to see Cooper Flagg and Victor Wembanyama play together. But as a Thunder fan, as a fan of a team in the Western Conference, did not want to see that. So we're cool on that front. Would have loved to see, again, Coop go out east. But no, the Western Conference adds a more top tier, someday probably top 10 talents in the NBA. But yeah, let me know what you thought about the draft lottery. How'd your team do? How are you feeling? Who goes in what spot? What are the most intriguing storylines leaving this? Obviously, again, Dallas with Cooper Flagg, but the Spurs now having the 2 and 14 picks. Could this be a Wemby pack or Giannis package? Should team him up with Wemby? The Sixers, what did they do with the 3rd pick? Should they try and trade it? Should they keep it? Who should trade up? Who should trade down? I want to know your thoughts. And what was your reaction? I'm mad because I decided not to live stream the lottery because I'm like, there's no way something insane happens. I'm mad I don't have my reaction, how incredulous I was when it happened. I'm mad I don't have that captured for the rest of the time. But yeah, the second time the Mavericks have just completely shaken up the basketball world in one way or another over the past 3.5 months, 2.5 months, whatever it's been. Mavs fans are probably sick of it. But, at least it's a good thing this time. But I appreciate y'all watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. I have a playoff game I need to go watch. The Celtics and Knicks are playing right now, and I can't even think about it because Cooper Flagg is going to be a Dallas Maverick. Appreciate y'all watching. I'll see y'all later. Everyone say it back.